Thank you, Trish, and good evening, everybody. It's a real pleasure for me to be here. I've been wearing a hat that says, "Not yet." And by that I mean I'm not yet interim dean. That occurs on July 1st. Talk to Judy, she will let you know that she's still the dean, which is fine with me. But, you know, events like this just don't happen, and I got to thank Trish and Janet for the support that they've given the teams in making this happen. And more importantly than anything, though, behind the success that Trish and Janet are starting to enjoy is Elaine Hagan, and she, as executive director of the process, be quiet, it just makes things happen. Elaine, I have to recognize you again for all that you do. But it really is a village. It is about the school, and it's about what you do in some of the classes. It's about the professors. It's about aspects of what you've learned and how you've been able to put it into practice. It's about those who have given of their time to come and be mentors and be speakers. And as I look around the room, I'm glad to see that some of you are here in that regard. And I must say, none of this gets done without a little support from those who have financial resources. And at the top of my list will be a part in the Accelerator that we wouldn't have been able to put together if it wasn't for the ability of the UCLA Committee on Libraries understanding that the world has changed a little bit and nobody was using the books downstairs. But if you allow us to do it, there will be new creativity and learning that would take place in the Anderson Accelerator. And that took a little bit of effort, and for that I thank Judy to be able to allow Elaine to make it happen. In the Accelerator, though, what we really hope is that there will be active use of the pitch deck. And for that to happen, and for it to be named properly, to have the proper resources to make it happen, I got to acknowledge one of our board members. He's right over there, Jim Friedman. Jimmy, thank you for all the job as well. I can't believe that it's almost better part of 40 or 50 years since you and I have been hanging out, but we're looking pretty good still, right?
Sorry.
But we're here to hear the teams and not for me to drone on. But nothing happens unless groups come together and decide to go out and take a chance. Think fearlessly, is that what we say? Yeah. And then what else do we say?
Drive change.
That's right. But before we drive change, what do we have to do?
Share success.
Share success. And part of putting together the teams that make this happen is looking at a collective future by cooperating with one another and building value where others thought there was just nothing. And we're hopeful that these presentations will, you'll see the beginning of what's going to be an amazing landslide here. We're about to erupt, if I can use that word advisedly. And I'm going to thank Trish for allowing me to say a few words and turn it back over to her. And as they would say, let's get on with the show. Thank all of you for being here. God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Al. Hey, for people who are in the middle, can you guys come and take some of the seats in the center and get cozy so everyone can sit? And I know that's all of you sitting in the back, unless you're comfortable there, but we have seats. Let's do it. And as people are sitting down, we're going to kick off now with 10 teams back to back. We're going to go fast. Our first team up is an Anderson alum, Jim Snazza, who's CEO of his company. And at this point, here we go.
All right, thank you, Trish. So I am Jim Snazza, and I want to welcome. Thank you. I want to welcome everybody here to Anderson Venture Accelerator's Showcase Night. And my job is as CEO of New Realm Technology. Now, New Realm Technology is looking to revolutionize education through both augmented reality and virtual reality technology. And I want to start off with a quick question here. Are we going here with the showcase? We're having technical difficulties. Here we go. There we go. Revolutionizing education through augmented reality and virtual reality experiences. So I want to start with a quick question. How many of you have children that it's difficult, it's tough for you to get them to brush their teeth? Show of hands, anybody? Anybody having this problem? It's a big problem. Tooth decay is the most common chronic childhood disease, and more than half of children get cavities before they reach the age of 8. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this happens. Now, parents feel tired after they come home from work, and they don't want to deal with the fussing of the bedtime routine. Children don't see the short-term incentives to brushing their teeth for 2 minutes twice a day. And socioeconomic disparities cause lower-income families to have lack of access to quality food. So what we've done is we've created a new technology. It's called Tooth Hero. And it's an augmented reality dental hygiene game that uses a front-facing camera on a smartphone or a tablet in order to have children brush for 2 minutes twice a day. So I'm going to do a 30-second demo here, basically. This is Tooth Hero. It's now live in the App Store and in the Google Play Store, so download it. And what we have is 4 characters that you can play as. You have Molar the Magnificent, Flora the Tooth Fairy, Wanda the Wisdom Tooth, and Canine the Dog. And I will play as Canine the Dog here, and soon you'll see me playing in the last quadrant of the game. So in the bottom left-hand corner, you will see that it's showing me where to brush. And as I brush, I'm destroying monsters in the bottom right-hand corner. Those are called plaque minions. That is cav. And as I leave the screen, you can't cheat. As I leave the screen goes fuzzy, and it pauses. As I come back on, our plaque minion reappears. And every time that you defeat a plaque minion, every 10 seconds, you get a piece of a toothpaste bomb in the upper right-hand corner. Once you have 30 seconds, you launch the toothpaste bomb, you kill Jack the Plaque, he splats on the screen, and your child, or in this case myself, I receive an augmented reality filter, a crown. So I like to brag about the game, but we also have a great board of advisors and a great board of directors. I'd like to start with my co-founder, David Oakes, who is a Pulitzer Prize winner. He's also the screenwriter of Revenge of the Nerds, which, I don't know, Pulitzer Prize, Revenge of the Nerds, I mean, they're both pretty close. And I was introduced to him through Dr. Osborne, now our dean here at Anderson, who sits on our board of advisors and is also an investor in the company. We have a dentist and a Wall Street executive as the other people on our board of advisors. Not only do we have a great board of advisors, but we have a lot of great partners. We have 2 big after-school programs, potentially the biggest in Southern California, both LA's Best and Star Education, which we've been testing our app with them for the last year. We have 2 big neighborhood clinics, including the biggest clinic in the country, Venice Family Clinic. And we have a couple foundations who are supporting our mission, including the Santa Barbara Foundation. So the next question is, how are we going to make money? Everybody always says that. It's in business school. How are we going to make money? So the way that we are planning to make money is not through a high-priced toothbrush. It's through a brush-a-thon. And many parents in here know about PTAs trying to raise money. We are currently in 2 schools, one in Santa Barbara, one in the Pacific Palisades, launching our brush-a-thon. And it's an event that's raising money for participating PTAs through pledge donations. So a parent, a grandparent, a friend, or a family member can pledge anywhere from $0.25 to $5 for every time that a child brushes their teeth over the period of 2 weeks. This is going to be a tremendous amount of money, as you can see on the right-hand side, for a school of 600 kids, which is the average size of a K-5 school in California. We will split the funds between New Realm and the PTA. 30% of the funds come to us, 70% come to the PTA. And the cool thing is we can track how many times a child brushes their teeth as long as they're using our app, Tooth Hero. You can't cheat. So this is a healthy alternative to the PTA selling candy, selling cookies, having a bake sale. This is a win-win because we're going to be raising money for the schools while also encouraging encouraging children to build healthy habits. So we've had some early successes, and you can read about those, but since we're here for the Anderson Venture Accelerators night, I will talk about some milestones that we reached here in the Accelerator. We started in December. We had our first sale in January to Santa Barbara Neighborhood Clinic, and then we've had our first hire was at it was in March, which was our lead engineer, Monik, who is back there, and you'll be able to see us both after the event. We also currently have a project, our second project is in the works, and it's a U.S. history virtual reality game that my co-founder David Obst is scripting right now. We have a big partner that we're working with that is putting up some money to help us build that game this summer. We're really excited about it. So finally, we have some next steps. We are adding incentives in 2.0. We are creating missions, we're creating rewards, and this is going to help us increase retention. We're also looking to launch our Rushathon statewide this fall and into next spring. We're doing academic studies with our Santa Barbara Neighborhood Clinic and the Venice Family Clinic in the next 3 to 6 months. And we have a couple upcoming goals that maybe you can help us with, and when you come see us at our booth, you'll be able to tell me about. If you know anybody that's involved in the PTA, parents, administrators, principals, superintendents, if you know anybody that is a 3D animator that can help us with this VR US history game, I'd love to hear from you. And finally, we are raising money for our seed round. We closed our pre-seed round of funding, which was over $400,000 in the last 18 months. And now we are looking to go to market with our 2.0 game. It's going to cost a lot to market this to schools. We're going to have a lot of marketing materials. So I'm Jim Snazza. I'm the CEO of New Realm Technology. We are revolutionizing education through augmented reality and virtual reality products. And I'm very interested to talk to you guys after the event. Thank you very much.
Jim, nailed it. Hello, I'm Ray Christian, CEO of Textpert, and when I was 20 years old, I was in college and kind of felt like I had things figured out. Pretty fit, good grades, social, and then my world came crashing down. I got sick with an autoimmune disorder, and then I got really sick, and then I had to drop out of school, and then I got depressed, and then I slipped into a 10-year addiction to sleeping pills. And it turns out this story is a common one, this overlap of mental health issues and addiction. Okay, so what's going on in the world of addiction right now? Well, the opioid epidemic is costing America $504 billion per year. 2.1 million Americans are addicted, and 64,000 are dying per year. It's killing more people than car accidents. Mental health, costing us $467 billion a year, 210 of which just depression and anxiety. All told, we have 16 million Americans that are afflicted. If you add the two numbers up, you have $1 trillion problem. A lot of research has come out now showing this massive overlap between mental health and addiction. Okay? So what's our best tool? What's our best defense? The questionnaire. Cutting-edge technology from the 1930s. The BDI, the MMPI, PHQ, GAD. The problem is, they're not nuanced. They lack tone. They're black and white. The brain is gray. And what's manifested from the brain is an infinite number of shades of gray. It's not going to do the trick. So you might say, okay, what if I can see a psychiatrist in person? Well, just like every other human, they suffer from memory loss, bias from a bad day, and vague language. Additionally, research is showing that people are actually more open and honest with bots, software, and AI entities because they feel less judged. Psychiatrists alone are not the answer. So, okay, we can wave a magic wand. What would the promised land look like? Well, it'd be a tool that allows technology to observe, much like a psychiatrist does. Body language, tone, speech content. Additionally, data collection, experience with thousands, millions of patients. an impeccable memory, remembering every single pattern and nuance. And of course, just like every product, you want it to be fast, accessible, and inexpensive. Introducing AiME. Bleeding edge AI that decodes emotion almost like magic. AI for mental health and opioid addiction risk. It's a 10-minute test on your desktop. Observes the patient's facial expressivity, vocal prosody, speech content. And this is the result. Finally, there's a standardized, objective report on mental health and addiction risk, allowing us to have highly precise long-term tracking of mental health and allowing us to prevent that first bottle of pills from being handed to a high-risk individual. It's time to get rid of the 1 to 10 pain scale, the questionnaire. It's time to give psychiatrists a tool that allows them to scale, that allows them to triage. It's time to give hospitals, insurance companies, health networks an ability to properly assess claims and risk. It's time for AiME. So who's going to do it? This is the team. It's a team that already has an AI exit under its belt. You've got proven, exceptional B2B sales experience. You've got an advisory team with world-class expertise in both psychiatry, machine learning, and also strategy. And the pièce de résistance, my co-founder, Zeke, a transcendent AI engineer, delightful person to work with, and also kind of my bestie. So where are we now? We already have 750 participants that have taken the test through MTurk. All told, 950 gigabytes of proprietary training data and 20,000 hours of R&D that's gone into this technology. And right now, we're at 73% F1 score prediction accuracy. Little frame of reference, 80% market ready, 95%, you're talking about a seismic shift in how we understand mental health and addiction. So we've already had $100,000 in revenue in the past 12 months. And these are some of our clients, nonprofit partners, and institutional partners. Market validation for this company, this brand. And of course, AVA, the Accelerator. The events, the advice, the introductions have been invaluable. Helping us with advisors like Terry Kramer, Nanthia Suthana, Aaron Blaisdell, mentors like Neil Green, Bob Waldorf. Our network has exploded, our technology went from good to world class, and our market focus is now razor sharp. And Trish, Janet, and Elaine, this whole experience, what a mitzvah. So, by the end of the quarter, we want to have 2 pilot clients here in LA, 95% accuracy on our technology, and by the end of October, our goal is 50,000 recurring revenue. They say that the simplest idea is the one that usually sticks. So I'll leave you with this. AiME will be the blood test, or the MRI, for mental health and addiction. So whether it's health networks, doctors, psychiatrists, workers' comp, disability insurance companies, help us sell and help us go change the world. Thank you.
Good job, Ray. All right, hey everyone, welcome tonight. Hope you're having a great evening. My name is Titus. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Stylify, an AI-driven marketplace for fashion. So the vision behind Stylify really comes from our belief in the value of diversity, and that it's about time that our digital experiences, particularly personalization and recommendation systems, help us live out that diversity and encourage it and promote it. As consumers, the most personal thing we buy is fashion, is our clothing. It's the first front to showing people our personality and how we want them to perceive us. Unfortunately, the online fashion space is the polar opposite of this vision. So if you go on Amazon right now, and you search for a blue dress, you'll get 400 pages of results, which are in no way filtered or curated for you, for your sense of style. Everyone gets the same results. And in between are mixed in a bunch of really irrelevant things, like socks and shirts, which are definitely not dresses. So all this inconvenience and disconnect causes a lot of angst for consumers and a ton of lost opportunities for merchants, retailers, brands. As a matter of fact, a third of shoppers leave shopping sites without making a purchase just because they find it difficult to browse. That's unacceptable. And what's even more incredible is that we found that 90% of top-tier retailers, these are the people with the data and with the data science departments, say that they're ineffective at personalization. That's their own evaluation of themselves. So we're fixing all this. Stylify is an AI-driven marketplace for fashion. Our app has 3 simple steps that are allowing us to revolutionize how people are shopping. Users log in with their social media, and with their permission, we grab their images. Then we use our deep learning technology, which has all been developed by us in-house, to go through the images, find the clothing you wear, and extract the style features from that clothing to understand your personal style, your personality, like no other system can currently do. And then, based on that style profile that we build of you, we find products from across thousands of different brands from all over the country that you can purchase in the app. The interface of the app is Tinder style, so part of the problem we're alleviating is just the overwhelming amount of options that are irrelevant. So a user searches for the product they want, like in any other app, but instead of getting 10,000 results of stuff that they definitely don't want to buy, they get curated cards, which are, again, personalized for them. They can click on the card, see all of the product details, and then buy the product in the app. So for merchants, we're focusing on small indie brands and boutiques that have a very hard time driving traffic to their sites, but have very unique products that people want, especially millennials, which is our target market. So we're helping them connect directly to the consumer that wants their products instead of being in this massive sea of competition. And then for consumers, we're driving product and brand discovery really like never before. And we did some research, did some testing. Similar systems, which we evaluate as being less personal and less holistic than us, show an increase in the average order value of 2 to 3x for merchants that use them. So up until now, we have done all of the core AI development over the past less than a year. We've signed on 10 brands, have tested our prototype with 120 users to get some data and some feedback, and are in the process of signing on about another 40 or 50 brands over the next couple months before we launch our fully functional app in both app stores. And these are some of the partner brands we have, again, focusing on small indie boutiques. So we're focusing on millennials, specifically college and young professionals, and looking at the whole market in the US and kind of boiling down to that segment. It's about $17 billion that's spent annually online for fashion specifically. So we're launching out of UCLA and USC this summer, and we're going to use our niche influencers, growth hacking strategies, and co-marketing with our brands to expand from there. Our team consists of myself and my co-founder, Bram, who did our undergrad together in Cleveland. We created an AI software that placed first in our thesis from a group of 300 students. I have experience at some of the top engineering firms in Cleveland. Travis is our head of business development. He has experience at IPG with the Kia account and at several marketing tech companies in LA. And then Austin's our incredible creative lead, who is currently also a designer for the NFL part-time. So our next steps for us is connecting with as many brands as possible to bring them on our platform. We're giving them a free 6-month trial. Afterwards, they can convert into paying customers on a commission basis. So any connections to brands are very welcome, as well as to any potential marketing channels or influencers. And then finally, once we launch the app this summer, we are raising a pre-seed round of about $500,000. So come talk to us and learn more about Stylify. Thank you.
in Mexico. I come from a family of doctors, and I was inspired by how innovations around the world are improving access to quality healthcare, and therefore I came to UCLA to change the healthcare landscape in my country. So why diabetes? Diabetes is a big problem in Mexico. In 2016, it was declared a national emergency because Mexico is the country with the highest prevalence in the world, highest prevalence in diabetes. So 1 in every 6 persons in Mexico has already diabetes, and this is only expected to grow by 78%. And this is a huge burden not only for the country, but for the people, because 45% of the expenditure in healthcare is out of the people's pockets. So this is basically because there are 3 main problems in the healthcare system. One is that it is a fragmented system, which leads to high costs because people have to see different doctors that don't communicate amongst themselves. And finally, people that are paying for their healthcare are not necessarily getting quality because quality is being measured by process compliance rather than by results or outcomes. And a typical patient with diabetes in Mexico City would, their experience would look like that. There. So basically, this Maria is a patient who has diabetes, and she will go around the city visiting different doctors, and she sometimes have to take double tests and take care of all the responsibility for her care because the doctors don't communicate. So we as a team, we set to create a solution, and we realized that value-based healthcare would be the tool to solve this problem. And basically, value-based healthcare, we are going to implement it by creating integrated practice units, which are basically one-stop shops for diabetes, where the patient will be with diabetes could come and get an integrated care. We will be measuring outcomes and cost, and we will be aligning all the incentives for all the stakeholders. And although diabetes is a big problem in Mexico, it represents a big opportunity for Valoran because the market in Mexico for diabetes is $8.7 billion. And we're focusing on Mexico City, where our target market, which is the health-conscious upper middle class, is already spending out of their pockets to get care, but not necessarily getting quality. So we expect to capture a third of that market, which amounts for $195 million. So where I came from and where I'm going. I came to UCLA Anderson with a very big idea of changing the healthcare landscape in Mexico. But here I have worked through the resources and classes, and now I have a launch plan, which consists, it's simple and scalable, and it consists on piloting in my family's clinic in Mexico City. And then once we generate enough revenue, we will have a freestanding clinic and eventually multiple clinics around the city. And my next steps are getting a team together and finishing up partnerships with doctors and laboratories. And we are currently raising our family and friends round of funds, which is of $120,000, because that will be enough for launching and operating the pilot. And then with the revenue, we can generate the other clinics. So thank you for attention. I want to take this moment to thank Elaine Hagan, Professor Al Osborne, Bill Seeger, Jeff Shinerock, and especially my team Valoran. Thank you.
Hello, we are Prairie Coast Partners. We are a residential real estate private equity group. We are acquiring and operating income-generating properties in our initial market of Kansas City. So let me introduce you to Sean and I, the two founders of this business. So Sean has a background in management strategy consulting, having worked with Strategy and PwC in New York, advising some of the world's largest financial institutions, including investment banks and private equity funds. And I most recently, before business school, sold my family's business, which we successfully exited to a Fortune 500 company. And before that, I spent 4 years in public and private equity, before beginning my career with Morgan Stanley Investment Banking. So here's a brief history of Prairie Coast Partners. So Sean and I met shortly upon coming to UCLA Anderson, and we shared a desire to build a business in private equity, namely real estate. I think it's important to note that we've taken this idea through EVI, BPD, and BCO. And most recently, we were awarded as the Union Bank Top BCO for the class of 2018. So we've been largely in the past 18 months in the startup and proof of concept phase of this business. We've invested significant amount of time and resources into building the infrastructure, both from an investment and an operational standpoint, to scale this business. We've successfully acquired, renovated, and leased out 9 properties in the last 13 months, and today we're at a crossroads. We're largely capital constrained, having exhausted our current capital base, and we're missing opportunities each week to replicate our investment model. So because of that, we're looking to raise outside capital to expand this business, as well as grow into the opportunity. So underlying our investment thesis are a number of key macroeconomic and demographic trends. The first of these is a constrained home supply. So coming out of the most recent downturn, we see that single-family housing starts are dramatically lagging their long-term averages, as well as multifamily starts. Adding to this is the rising interest rate environment that we're going into. So we see the impact of a rising interest rate environment as twofold. From the supply side, it becomes more expensive to add new construction, which adds to the previous trend I just spoke about. And from the demand side, it becomes much more expensive to borrow for the purchase of your first home. We're also seeing changing demographics. Namely, while a lot has been written about millennials, 2 things are true from our perspective. They're waiting longer to settle down and start a family, and so they're delaying the purchase of their first home, and subsequently they're renting much longer than previous generations. A key reason for this could be the overwhelming amount of rising consumer debt, namely student loans. We see that the number of individuals with student loans, as well as their average balances, are on the rise in recent history. And so what that leads us to believe is we see the rise in what we call the renting generation, and that's exactly what bears out in the data. Home ownership rates today sit at their lowest level since the 1960s, with rentership rates being at their highest levels. And what's even more important specifically for our business is when we dive in by age cohort, we see that the younger generations have a much greater propensity to rent, namely amongst the millennials. So I'll hand it off to Sean to walk through our target market.
Great, thank you. So outside of Daniel's local relationships in Kansas City, we chose the market for a number of reasons. First, Kansas City offers a diversified and growing economy. For example, the top 5 sectors in the economy do not even account for half of the available jobs. And as you can see in the top left, Kansas City has achieved about 14% growth in the total number of jobs available in the market. Next, Kansas City has historically shown significant home price stability, losing only about 12% in home value during the recent recession, as compared to the U.S. overall losing about 19%. Additionally, Kansas City has actually outperformed most coastal markets since the 2006 peak in housing prices. Next, Kansas City is one of the most affordable markets in the country, recently being ranked by CNBC and Zillow as in the top 10 in terms of cost of living and home prices. This is important to us as investors because it allows us to diversify our capital across more assets, as well as provide us a greater runway for both rent and home value growth. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, Kansas City offers a average monthly rent to price ratio of about 1%, which provides a annual cash yield that's unattainable in most coastal markets, as you can see in that chart in the bottom right. So based over the last 18 months, we've been focused on building a scalable business model. Our process starts with sourcing deals from local contacts that are on the ground in Kansas City, and once we find a deal that we like, we run it through our qualitative criteria and our quantitative models. If we end up closing on a property, we'll then bring in our veteran general contractor to execute a value-add renovation project to update the home to appeal to our target demographic of millennial renters. And then after renovation, we leverage a strong local banking relationship to obtain attractive debt financing on each of our properties. And then finally, we market our properties online, and we utilize a strict tenant screening process to sift through our prospective tenants and then sign them on to primarily 2-year leases. So this is a snapshot of our current portfolio of 9 properties. Of note, 7 of these 9 are currently leased and cash flowing. with the two most recent acquisitions currently under renovation. So our portfolio drives financial returns through four main sources. First, we add value day one to each of our properties through rigorous diligence and renovation. Next, each home's rental income generates roughly a 7% or more annual cash yield. Next, each of our properties is appreciating in value each year. And lastly, we're building equity each month as we pay down our loan principal using the rental income that we receive each month. These four sources combine to a 10% plus unlevered IRR and a 15 to 20% levered IRR for each one of our properties. So it's given these returns, and we're excited about the runway ahead of us and the opportunity to open this investment to outside capital partners. So with that, thank you very much, and we look forward to speaking with you out there.
So over 3 million patients begin orthodontic treatment each year in the U.S., and they still use the over 80-year-old technology that you're probably all familiar with. It leads to a very long treatment time, frequent visits to the orthodontist, and it's also poor aesthetically, as you can see, and it's a very painful experience for the patient as well. So we've developed a new type of braces that we think will revolutionize the orthodontic industry. You can see it here. What we do is we move each tooth independently. So the biggest issue right now in orthodontics is that when you move one tooth, it has unwanted side effects on those nearby teeth. And that's what causes the lengthy treatment time. So we are able to move each tooth independently and really customize our treatment based off of the size of each tooth and where each tooth is moving. So it's not just customized medicine per patient, but it's really customized to each tooth of each patient. The next thing that we do is we move the teeth simultaneously. So currently in orthodontic treatment, when you go to the orthodontist, they might move one or only a few teeth at a time. But we're able to move all the teeth at the same time. You'll see that in the video in a moment, and that's another factor which reduces our treatment time. Our braces are also made out of nitinol, which is a shape memory alloy that's ideal for orthodontic treatment because it allows us to apply a light and continuous force on the teeth. So this makes it much less painful for the patients. So I'm going to show a video here, and the beginning is the photo here that you see on the left. So what this is a wax typodon, which is they use it for training and residency programs. Sort of helps them see what the tooth movement's going to look like before they actually go and try it on patients. So this is the video we actually used to go around and get our first patient. Actually, the first patient was myself, but so after that kind of work, I had very poor teeth. So, but after that work, we were able to get additional patients. So I'll show you the video now. And this kind of gives you an idea of what the tooth movement would look like in a patient. And so if you were to try to make a similar video with traditional braces, what you would have to do is you'd have to take this wax model, you'd put it in the warm water, you'd have to take it out 20 different times, simulating the 20 different appointments that's typical with orthodontic treatment. And I already mentioned both the reduction in treatment time, and the second biggest thing is reduction in number of visits. So typically treatment time we've seen less than half, and I'll show some photos. And the number of visits is even more dramatic, probably over 75% reduction. Our braces can be placed behind the teeth, and actually almost all of our patients except one have had it behind their teeth. Also, our braces are good from an oral hygiene perspective because you can much more easily floss. Since there's no wire connecting those nearby teeth, the patients will see those able to easily go around and floss without having to thread the wire. As I mentioned, we apply a light and continuous force on the teeth, so it's also less painful for the patients as well. From doctors' perspective, we reduce the chair time. They don't have to do any manual wire bending. They just simply install it in the mouth of the patient. And also, there's much fewer visits, so this is another factor in reducing their chair time. Now, in orthodontic treatment, it's a fixed fee model, so it's typically $5,000 to $6,000 that the doctor gets for completing orthodontic treatment, whether it's traditional braces or Invisalign or ours. And so, by us reducing the number of visits, we're able to really increase their profit per visit. So what that allows them to do is either get more patients to increase their overall profit or just to work less for that same amount of profit. We've also been able to get numerous patients who didn't want orthodontic treatment. They sort of saw us present or heard about us, came up, said, I wanted orthodontic treatment, but it was going to be too long, or I didn't want it in front of my teeth. They think we'll really be able to expand the market to different groups of people that wanted treatment but weren't able to pursue it. So we've really been able to prove out the technology over the past year. Here you can see before and after photo of one of our patients. And this treatment, and I'll show you another view in a second. This is the view for upper teeth, and you can see the before and after. I left the braces in there so you can kind of get an idea of what they look like. And this treatment took around 3 months, and so the estimated time for treatment with Invisalign is over 12 months. To get you an idea, I didn't just make up the 12 months, but you can submit the case to Invisalign, and then they get back to you with their estimated treatment time. And this is the frontal view, so you can see the teeth on the side are called the lateral teeth, were behind, the upper teeth are behind the lower teeth. So we currently have 8 doctors, actually we have 9 doctors now and around 40 patients. It's a little bit dated slide. To give you an idea of market size, we have 3 million patients in the US each year, around 10 million worldwide. The average price in the US is around $6,000. So it's an $18 billion market in the US, and it's around a $40 billion market worldwide. So we have 3 provisional and 1 non-provisional patents filed on the overall 3, they're utility patents, but they're based on the overall structure of moving the teeth independently. And we're also registered as a Class 1 device, so we're able to sell in the US. So again, to give you an idea of some of the milestones, we achieved the Accelerator, been in the Accelerator for about a year. And so we started our clinical trial when we were in the Accelerator. When we joined, I met Elaine somewhat randomly when we came here and told her we were working on. So at that point, we hadn't even started treating any patients. And so that's something I would do, you know. But we have we've won a couple of competitions here at UCLA. And then we were accepted into YC. Actually, we applied 3 times and we were finally accepted, but we weren't able to attend because by that point we had so many patients in the LA area that we decided to stay here. We then completed our first patient and completed the FDA process as well, which allows us now to go out and market the device. So going forward, we have a few key hires that we want to make, mainly in sales and marketing. And then actually we already did present the AAO. That was a few weeks ago now. It's just a big orthodontic conference. So we presented to a number of kind of select key opinion leaders there. We sort of had dinner outside of the convention hall. And then we want to get to our 100th patient by Q3 of this year, and then sort of begin a controlled rollout at the end of this year at the kind of the orthodontic conference that's on the West Coast, so the West Coast Orthodontic Society. And those are the milestones that we're looking to reach with the $1 million seed round that we're planning to raise. And then our goal is to get to our 1,000th patient by Q2 of 2019. My team is myself and Mehdi. I have an engineering background, and Mehdi is a resident. Actually, he's still over at the clinic now, so he's a resident in orthodontics. So we have a great group of clinical advisors. One of our advisors, Dr. Sagati, actually had our braces. She's also an orthodontist, so she was our only customer and patient. And one of our other doctors, I make a little bit fun of him because initially he was a little bit skeptical. Is it going to work in patients and so on? But after we showed him enough data, he finally tried it on his wife. So so we're looking to raise a $1 million convertible note, and we're also looking for anyone who might be interested in treatment. So if you're interested in treatment yourself, or any orthodontists you think might be interested, please let us know. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Jun. This is Yang. We are Team Onova. We are developing AI software for faster and more accurate prenatal ultrasound exam. Okay.
After we fix the clicker, we're going to sit all apart.
So let me introduce you to Billy. He looks very happy now, but he was close to death. He was misdiagnosed by a doctor and was born with heart defect. He needed to wait hours and hours until his body color was changed to purple due to not enough oxygen. Later, a nurse found it out. So we want to prevent incidents like this from happening. We want to save lives. Every year in the United States, 70% of babies with congenital heart defects are not diagnosed before birth. more than 1,000 babies are, like 1,000 babies die before even being diagnosed. And 10,000 babies are getting delayed treatment on average about 2 days. Not surprisingly, 31% of OBGYN doctors are sued in their career at least one time due to misdiagnosis and delayed treatment. They pay the highest insurance premium, even higher than surgeons. So we want to solve this problem with our AI technology. With our AI technology, we will increase the diagnosis accuracy rate to more than 95%. With our software, we can save 1,000 babies every year from death and can provide now 9,000 babies with timely treatment for better surgical outcome and better health in their future. It will reduce 93% of OBGYN lawsuit, and at that time we believe hospitals can provide better patient care. So our software will act as the third eye for doctors. We will analyze frame and give real-time analysis and suggestions for better ultrasound exam. So let's see our demo.
Our product is a medical software that utilizes AI to improve ultrasound. Our software will help sonographers and doctors to acquire high-quality scanning images and videos by providing real-time suggestions. In the lower right corner, you can see suggestions such as narrowing the window and zooming in. When the software detects abnormalities, it will alert the doctor with a red cloud. The software will also automatically store all information related to the abnormality, which is what the blue cloud signifies. The software once again prompts the doctor to zoom in and acquire a closer view of the abnormality. The software will also provide a summary after the examination and identify the areas that show chances of defect. So, in terms of our progress, we have already reached 90% accuracy rate with our current algorithm. And right now, we're finalizing our MVP and continuing to test and train our AI software in order to improve it. We're going to test and train it with the data that we will be receiving from Cedars-Sinai Hospital. We're also looking for fundraising opportunities. We're looking to raise for $500,000, and we want to improve our accuracy rate to 95%. So we're aiming to start our clinical testing in 2019 and officially launch our software between 2020 and 2021. So what are our markets? Our initial target markets are China, South Korea, Vietnam, and the United States. We want to launch in the Asian countries first because, as you know, they have not so troublesome health regulation systems as the United States does. So let's look at their market. So there are about 46 million prenatal ultrasound scans in these 4 target countries combined. Our business model is to charge $10 for each ultrasound exam, and that will give us a target market of $460 million. After we reach our target market, we're going to continue to expand into the global ultrasound imaging market, which includes not only prenatal ultrasound, but also adult ultrasound. And we're going to expand into different body parts, such as the lung and the brain. Last but not least, we're going to expand into the global medical imaging market, which includes MRI and CT scans as well. So here's our team. I'd like to give a big shout out to Jesse, our engineer over there. He's also the 3rd co-founder of Innova. Jesse's been working really hard in developing our software. He has successfully generated an algorithm that has a higher accuracy rate in structural abnormality detection than any other researchers using the same data set. And I'd also like to thank our advisors, Mark, George, and Brian, whom we met through the Anderson Venture Accelerator, actually. Our advisors have helped us establish many new connections, and we look forward to continue working with them to bring our product to the next stage. Thank you for listening. We're Team Innova. If you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you.
Thanks for coming out tonight. My name is Phil. This is Felix, and we're the founders of Hansel, a peer-to-peer search platform. When you think about search, you think about Google and how they integrate the world's information and index it for you. What we do at Hansel is we integrate information amongst circles of trusted friends. The reason we do that is because recommendations from friends are the most credible form of advertising. And strangely, it's a form of advertising that is not being directly monetized. So let's think about how people get advice online. The most traditional way is people go to a crowdsourcing platform like Yelp, and they look at reviews that people have published outwardly. 1 star, 5 stars. It's an aggregation of the wisdom of the crowd. Now, we did a little bit of research and had a common sense finding. People prefer advice from friends as opposed to strangers. So Facebook saw this as an opportunity and built Facebook recommendations. It's a tool where you can send out a request to all your friends and say, hey, I'm going to New York. Tell me what's good. And what happened right now is that no one's really engaging with that platform. Facebook is disappointed. It's the social media equivalent of a blast email. Nobody's accountable, and nobody responds. So we did a little more digging. We talked to users. We did a lot of primary research. And we found people were getting advice from friends, but it wasn't through this Facebook platform. It was through direct and private interaction. And it wasn't being supported by current technology platforms. So Felix and I got together, and we said, hey, can we give people much easier access to this most valuable form of information? And so what we did is we designed Hansel's private advice platform. I'll walk you through how this works. It's very different than other competitors. A user comes to our platform, and the first thing we do is unlock their location history, which is sitting in the metadata of their mobile photos. And what we do is we slightly mask it so that they're comfortable sharing it. When a user comes to Hansel and they see their data unlocked, the first reaction isn't, what the heck? It's, wow, that's so cool. I wonder what my friends have. And so we make it easy for them to connect with friends and search their location history using our proprietary algorithm that respects privacy. Once people have searched and found the friends that they want to reach out to, they ping them directly and privately, and we have an artificial intelligence boosted response mechanism that helps you jog your memory, where you've been, what your friend might want to hear from you. And for folks on our platform who ask multiple friends for help, we consolidate all that advice into one easy-to-use playlist. So easy to use that they can book their experiences. And every time somebody does a booking on Hansel, we get paid commission directly. So what we're really doing is giving powerful lead generation to the $15 billion market of travel commissions charged in the US. And we've actually found a way to directly monetize the most credible form of advertising, which is peer-to-peer recommendations. And with that, I'll hand it off to our Chief Technology Officer, Felix, to tell you about our team and our progress. Thanks, Phil.
So as Phil mentioned, we're excited to be bringing data mining power to your phone. And thankfully, Phil has over 10 years of experience in data science. I have over 10 years of experience building software. But we also found a great team of advisors, classmates of ours who had direct experience in the industry, in a travel startup. Jermaine there before going on to marketing at Microsoft. Sophia helped Virgin IPO as part of our finance team. And Nikki actually worked at a competitor as both a product manager and an engineer. We also have a great advisor that may be in the room today, John Funk. He keeps us ready to be funding ready so that we're ready with our product. But what I'm most excited about as a CTO is the great product team that we've been able to recruit. We have engineers that have gotten offers from Venmo, Symantec, and we have a designer that's at Facebook working on this app. I worked with this product team, both Phil and I, to crank out our MVP in about 6 weeks. And so we're super excited about the velocity we were able to generate with that small team. MVP, we hit that mark, launched it, tested it out last week, proved out some early hypotheses on how comfortable users are with our privacy settings, as well as will they invite people to the app. And what we're really looking to do next is build V1 that's production ready in the App Store, and then V2 will be able to scale and monetize. So if you think about what UCLA has offered us, we've excelled in this ecosystem. It started off with non-dilutive grant funding here at UCLA, moved on to being recognized as Entrepreneurs of the Month at Anderson, and then finally we went through some rigorous accelerator programs that really helped us to really refine our business model. And so with that, we're looking to raise a bridge round so that we can really accelerate that path to that V1 production ready in the App Store, and then also get ready for V2 where we start to monetize. So we're really excited to show you what we have here outside, so come talk to us. Thank you.
Hi. Hello, everyone. My name is Stephen Cohen. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sarah, the Simplifying Recovery Assistant. Now, I need a little help from the crowd here. How many of you have had physical therapy before? Okay, quite a few. Keep your hands up. When you got your home exercises on that sheet of paper from your physical therapist, how many of you did those every day like you were supposed to? The one and only Trish and a couple others, because she is amazing. But I didn't do them either There simply just hasn't been a technology to help make this easy for everybody. Until now, that's why we created Sarah. So what is Sarah?
Introducing Sarah, Simplified Recovery Assistant. Sarah gives physical therapists the ability to upload videos of their patients, reducing the need of video catalogs for a more personalized experience. Physical therapists can record, upload, and save the video to the patient's account, and add the prescription name, add the number of sets and reps needed for them to complete the exercises to help with their recovery. Patients also get text reminders to complete their exercises and help keep them engaged outside of the PT office. The progress tracker allows the patient to input and rank their difficulty, pain, and effort levels so that the provider can see how their progress is coming around. The provider can also update exercise regimens to meet the progress and healing of their patients so that recovery plan is always dynamic. Learn more about how Sarah can help simplify recovery for your team.
So while Sarah is your Simplified Recovery Assistant, she's also public enemy number one for paper handouts because they're not personalized. If you forget it in your car, which you probably will, you can't do them for the rest of the week, and it gives you no way to track the feedback. So this leads to absolutely abysmal patient compliance of less than 30% nationally, which causes increased costs and recovery times, increased pain, leading to more opioid usage and dependence. And finally, if you're in pain and your mobility is decreased, I don't think I have to convince you that you're simply not living your best life. So, I know that physical therapists aren't going to pay for this. Patients aren't going to pay for this. So who will? Well, how about the employers that are spending $180 billion every year on workers' compensation costs outside of what they pay for their workers' compensation insurance? Then we will use a land and expand strategy, starting with workers' compensation injuries, moving to the broader self-insured employer health networks, and then finally attacking the 300 million lost workdays every year for muscle and joint pain through the corporate wellness. This is our team. Myself, a second-year MBA student who is in a somewhat bittersweet way graduating in about 14, 15 days. Fellow MBA in Ryan Ferguson, and finally our CTO, Valid Malik, with his master's in computer science from UCLA, rounds out our front office, our back office, and our tech. We also have been able to recruit a couple of UCLA alumni, which I see, Dave, thank you for joining us this evening, as well as 3 providers that help round out that set of experiences to be able to give us a fully fledged product and really win in this market. So, what have we been able to do? We've already done our beta testing with a physical therapy clinic in San Francisco, proving that this works. We've signed a pilot with Bardavon Health Innovation, which in short is an electronic health record for workers' compensation physical therapy, with that paid pilot beginning July 1st. We already have a verbal commit from Locked-in Insurance to get us in front of their 500 plus clients as soon as we prove the efficacy of Sarah, and a plan to scale this business to really launch. Anderson has been absolutely key to our success. Heck, we met in a class here. We developed the product here thanks to our BCO teammates and advisor Bill Seeger, as well as other EIRs in the Venture Accelerator. We're able to pivot into this more profitable workers' compensation model. We have an invite from one of the most prestigious accelerators in the nation and have already been raised some additional money. So we are funded, ready to roll, but we still need a little bit more. We are looking to build out our advisory board even further, as well as keep in touch for our seed round, which we'll look to raise at the beginning of next year. And so with that, I want to say thank you for your time. I'm Steven, and we're Sarah, the Simplified Recovery Assistant.
Things are about to get poppin'. K-pop
party. All right, I'll see you guys later. My name is Theo. Over there in the back corner, we've got my co-founder Mike Kim, Sean Jung, Haley Gazdick, and Cal Kennedy, and we are K-Pop Foods. K-Pop Foods is a Korean food brand focused on helping people discover and enjoy Korean food and flavors. When we take a look at the Korean food market in America, we know the demand is there. I'm pretty sure everyone here has heard of Korean barbecue, Korean rice bowls. But when we look at the market, it's at $5 billion, which is great. But compare that to the more established Chinese and Mexican food market, it's 7 times smaller. Why is that? Number one, inaccessible. As members of the LA community, you know how hard it is to drive to K-Town, and I'll bet $1,000 that I have right now, probably less than that, that you can't get there in less than 20 minutes. I don't think anyone will take that. Number two, is a failure for the current Korean food brands to really market and educate the American consumer. This is what gives rise to the opportunity for K-Pop Foods to build a Korean food brand that Americans can truly resonate and embrace. And that is what our team focuses on every single day we come into the office, is to build that brand, build that community. On to our products. Our first product was K-Pop Sauce, a Korean chili sauce that we launched last year in April on Kickstarter and successfully met our goal of $10,000 in under 8 hours. We then entered Amazon in October and became the #1 selling chili sauce for 3 consecutive months. Today, we continue to be a highly rated product on Amazon. Thanks to the Anderson Venture Accelerator and their amazing network of PR professionals, we've been featured through major media outlets. We've also been featured by award-winning chefs and barbecuers. And this has helped us expand our distribution, which is mainly online, but we've done through several subscription boxes and Korean restaurants. Most importantly, we received an invitation to join Amazon Launchpad, a special program designed by Amazon for up-and-coming startups with amazing products. We recently moved K-Pop Sauce 2-packs over there in January and continue to scale that line of revenue. Our newest product is K-Pop Sea Snacks, which we launched about 6 weeks ago. K-Pop Sea Snacks is a premium roasted, all-natural, organic seaweed snack. Unlike others, we roast and flavor our seaweed here in Los Angeles to guarantee freshness and crispness, which truly differentiate us from our competitors. While it's been early, we've got amazing reviews. We're already an Amazon Choice product. We've also been featured by major food outlets. But the biggest thing about K-Pop Sea Snacks has been the partnerships we've signed up already. #1 is with Mr. Phil Heath, the 7-time and current Mr. Olympia. He'll be launching a new subscription box called the Gift Box coming out later this month, and he's already included 2,500 units of K-Pop Sea Snacks in that box. Through this partnership, we'll receive over 5 million impressions through his community. The second partnership hasn't been announced yet, but will be coming out at the Cannes International Festival for Creativity. This partnership is a special co-branded box for the summer and will guarantee us approximately 10 million impressions, and we'll be distributing 30,000 units of K-Pop Sea Snacks through this opportunity. These are the partnerships we really care about. Since we've been in the Anderson Venture Accelerator, these are the metrics that we've been able to provide. The biggest one I'd really like to harp on is the 7 bottles, which is our daily velocity through a grocery outlet in Seattle. This demonstrates that while we've been online, there is demand for our product through offline and retail distribution. What's next for us? Our next phase is fundraising. We've already raised $150,000 under a convertible note, thanks to the Anderson Venture Accelerator, but now we're looking to raise $500,000. We're currently talking to investors, and we've also began working through a crowdfunding equity platform and gone through the initial stages, and will hopefully be onboarded by the end of this month, or June. With the money, we plan to expand our offline distribution, develop 2 new flavors of K-Pop Sauce and K-Pop Sea Snacks, and grow our team. With that, I'd like to leave you with some last remarks from our amazing customers.
They're not as oily as the store-bought. Yeah, better than usual. Has great texture to it.
Savory/hot.
Definitely like a unique flavor. That's really good. In fact, I think I'll add a little bit more now that I know I like it.
Thank you very much.